Stay right there. What are you waiting for? Kill them! Kill them both! No, wait a minute. Is it money you're after? I'll give you as much as you want.
May the saints forgive you, because I won't.
It's said in Chulin by Rabbi Gamliel that there are 3 branches which are rooted in the vine, and it's clusters. Clusters read eshklosia. Its clusters brought forth ripe grapes, and these are the libations. And these are interpreted as the gifts which the Lord gave to the world. These are understood esoterically in the Torah as the pillar of cloud, which led the Bnei Israelim through the Bamidbar, the Manai, which is the thing that they did not know what it was, and it came from heaven and they ate it. And the first fruits. And it is said, and its clusters brought forth ripe grapes. And these are the wine libations. In its blossoms, Netzah, we were talking about Netzach, commonly understood as victory, really means to grow, to sprout.
Like a garden, really.
My time has arrived that all their eternity is dashed against my garments, and I have redeemed my raiment, and its clusters bring forth ripe grapes, which means that the time has come for Mitzrayim to drink from the cup of fury. This is Egypt speaking exilically about the Pesach. Why are there 3 cups stated with regards to Mitzrayim? You know, in the dream of Paro's butler. One that Mitzrayim drank in the days of Moshe during the 10 plagues of the Exodus, the Geula, and one that Egypt drank in the days in which the temple fell at the hands of Nebuchadnezzar, and one that Mitzrayim will drink in the future along with all the other nations of the world when they're punished in the time of the Mashiach. Rabbi Shimon ben Lachish said, with regards to Klal Yisrael, this nation is likened to a vine, and the branches of this vine support the clusters of grapes, the leaves, and the tendrils. These tendrils represent those who are the people of the world who occupy the land, and they provide the support for the entire nation. But the clusters of the grapes on these tendrils, on these vines, they refer to the scholars of wisdom, the Torah scholars, the Talmudim Chachim, the dwellers in wisdom. And those clusters, those eshklosia, they're protected by the leaves on the vine. The function of the leaves is to protect the fruit. And who are they protecting the fruit from? The unrighteous, the ignorami. And this is the meaning. Let the clusters of grapes pray for the leaves, because were it not for the leaves, the eshklosia would not survive. Amen.
Amen. Very profound story. Thank you so much, Tsotchke. 3 hours and quite a long time. I feel like every time that we record, it's like very moving, and I'll have to come back, obviously, to edit and to listen and to sort of reestablish myself, I guess, in like a kind of ability to be a better listener to like the stories that you tell and the authors that you cite. You were talking about like the vertical pole, and there's something in my life has been coming up very frequently, and I kind of brought it up a little bit before with like Sagittarius and the arrow and the temperance card, but there's two other actually cards on the, if you want to compare it to like the Hermetic tree of life, there's the Zayin at the Lover's card, or on the Lover's card, and then there's also the Vav on the Hierophant. So that's a very interesting kind of positionality, because both of those things free the Keth of the chariot. So you're able to sort of move through your Merkaba journey when the three elements come into synthesis or perception, if you want to be more aesthetic. So I feel like everything lately for me, especially like this whole entire conversation, is very much like I'm very much in time. Like it's very much like of my life right now. And so I feel like that's why I always felt like we were connected as like in the sense of like in the world perceiving each other as like people who are trying to move through a world of perhaps darkness, but perhaps also veiled. So it's not inherently dark, but can seem that way many times, or decayed. And so I can't really say anything higher than that. So
something I always want to remind people of, because when people think of Sailor Moon, they maybe think of Moonlight Crystal Fantasy or something like this, but the story is fundamentally a cosmic horror. It's a Lovecraftian psychodrama, not unlike what I was talking about with Conan and Robert E. Howard's sort of take on the
that's going to be another
Lovecraftian mythos.
episode. because I love Conan. I just
well,
wanted to say
we
that.
should talk about like Sailor Moon and Conan in the same episode, and like we should relate the two of them together and how they're actually basically images of the same thing in a sense. But in but I mean, Conan is this gigantic, powerful person. And Sailor Moon is this overweight Japanese high school chick or middle school chick, whatever. Um, the point is though that um, oh man, sorry, I slightly derailed myself.
No, it's
But
okay. It's late.
the all I was really trying to say is um it's painted on this backdrop of moonlight crystal fantasy, and that's how it's sold to the reader. But the actual story is horrific, um especially if you see it within the point of view of the framing device of the story itself. So um like I do not have a solipsistic view of reality. I do understand that my personal journey does heavily influence the outcome of events in this reality, and in some like very, you know, in some very sort of post rationalistic sense, I will try to turn that into, well, that's because I'm literally the extension of the world soul and all this other kind of nonsense or whatever. But I just I do believe we're living in a loser world, and I think a lot of esotericism, and especially this kind of feel good new agey neo hermetic kind of law of attraction, the secret stuff is complete psychobabble nonsense intended to basically like funnel you into a self hating spiral of nonsense where you throw your energy towards parasitic vampires.
Hmm.
But that being said, that isn't to say the law of attraction is all junk, or like the Kybalion is all junk or whatever. That's not the case. But um, it's just undeniable to me that there's a direct correlation between what I'm able to sort of tolerate in this world and the conditions of the world itself. The problem is I haven't totally figured out the exchange mechanism yet, because like it's not like a tit for tat kind of a thing, like, oh, I did this, so therefore like something in the world is going to happen like this. I think solipsism is a big cope, um because you know I don't know if you know this, Jin, but the birth date on every single one of my profiles, be it Tsotchke, be it Eshkol, be it Tsotchke Corporation, be it Tsotchke Chan, be it Psychic Television, be it Glass Classic, be it MPEG 2, be it any of my other Twitter personas, or any of my Instagram personas, or any of my YouTube personas, or anything like this, they all have the same birth date, which is August 6th, 1945, which is the date that the atomic bomb was dropped on Japan. Now, my challenge to people who have a totally solipsistic view of reality is, can you create a world in which that did not happen? And if you can, why don't you live there? because you're living here now in the world in which everyone and everything was raped beyond eternity. You're going to sit here and tell me that it's because I am not positive that that all happened. You're going to do that. You're going to sit here and tell me that I'm just not tuned to the right frequency. You're going to tell me that.
Look, Tsotchke, you know this. You know this fundamentally, is that for every spark that is of splendor, of wonder, of Hashem, you could even say, there is an equal and opposite sort of darkness.
Here's a question for you, Jen. How many children did Jacqueline Bouvier and John F. Kennedy have? Google it while we're on the phone.
Okay.
How many children did John F. Kennedy and Jacqueline Bouvier have?
A lot of kids lost.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they had obviously the 2 kids that lasted, and then the 4. So they had 4 in total, which is
So
interesting.
the Kennedys are like a dynasty, political dynasty, right? Like a rich Irish Catholic whatever power in so you're telling me JFK buried 2 fucking kids in the fucking mid 20th century? We're just living in such a sanitized psycho prison. Why am I bringing up JFK and his offspring? Because like to go back to the Conan thing, like Conan is identified in Robert E. Howard for being this like massive hulking brute of a man, but they didn't even have like agriculture or like so like, you know, I'm not a big guy. I'm a little guy. I'm 5'7", 5'8". You know, I'm pretty powerful, but you know, I'm physically extremely strong, but very, very tiny.
Hey, my dad's only 5'9". I'm lucky I have some French Canadian genes.
But it's not the height part. But what I mean is like, no, but I think about this, like, you know, what control over physicality does anyone have? Is it just that I was lacking in bloodlust? That like I just simply like I drank a lot of fucking Jolt Cola and ate a lot of fucking Thunder Crunch growing up. So even though I was debased beyond like, you know, any possible recognition, I simply refused to die, and in addition to not dying, I hijacked the narrative of this world and I just simply bent it to my will. And I think I was supposed to die in 1998. It's like an augmented reality game. It's like kind of this whole thing. And it's got these points in history, okay? And the main points in history are like 1993, 1998, 2008. So 1993 is the year that our timeline diverged from, so to speak, the master timeline. It's not the absolute master timeline, but it's like our master timeline.
Mhm.
So
I understand.
1993
I'm with
is
you.
when we diverted, okay? And but we are not the like bottom of the pit hell reality. That reality became total obsequious you know, mind capture in 1998, okay? However, our reality is unsustainable. It's like a cadet branch of the master reality. We're not in the hell reality, and we're not in the good reality. We were supposed to end in 2008, but it simply did not happen for one reason or another. 2012 is the meme like era that is given to us. It's also the time that CERN discovered the Higgs boson, if you believe the story, which I don't because I'm there. But the point is, it was actually 2008. Like it's sold to us as 2012. It was actually 2008.
Makes sense.
But 2012 was mostly the Terrence McKenna thing. If we're being honest, there was this guy, Jose Mendez, who wrote these books. But Terrence McKenna kind of independently came to the 2012 date because of his time wave zero theory. Time wave zero is 100% true, by the way. The essence of that theory is absolutely correct. And he was correct about the 2012 date. Almost everything that Terrence McKenna predicted turned out to be true. What I'm trying to explain is there was a master reality, which we diverged from. And the whole Tsotchke paradigm, what we're doing is to sync this era with the master reality. So even though we had all this horrible stuff happen between now and then, and we lost all these people and our families, everything crumbled and all this nonsense, we're unifying this point in the timeline with the correct timeline. So it's not a perfect match, but that's what we're doing. We're rectifying the timeline. Now, here's the part that a lot of people don't want to hear. We've all read Voltaire's Candide. There's a character in that who's kind of a caricature of Roman Catholicism, and he's this priest, and he always says, we're in the best of all worlds. It's what we call logical positivism. That may be uncannily correct. As difficult and horrible as everything seems to be, this seems to be the best possible outcome. Given all possible trajectories, where things were going, and what the result was going to be, this was the best we could do. I know it doesn't look like much, but it could have been way worse.
As you know, Tsotchke, I believe in a multiverse, and I believe that there are many potentials for the saints. I also believe in Hashem, actually. I know that'll surprise some people, but it's not really I believe in him. I just know that God is real, because if you've ever traveled the tree, you kind of figure that out. And I think that you're not wrong. Even if people interpret what you're saying in a mythopoetic way, I do believe that there are people in the world that are like moon children. I didn't title your episode that as a conceptual idea. People can interpret it like that, but I believe it. And I also like to maybe defend my paternal culture a little. There is an idea from the water margin that the 108 heroes, they're called the outlaws, are actually the reborn evil stars. Not evil stars as in like they some of them were like evil war gods and all of that, but they were represented by stars. And so when they're reborn on the world, they're actually reborn to rectify both themselves and the world by fighting injustice. So why I say that is because I've often said that on lives, on spaces, on the show. I do kind of believe it. I do kind of believe that, like, it's not that I'm special or anything. Like, I don't really think in that way. But I do think that, there is, like, a higher knowledge that it's not that I have a plan or a path working or anything. Or any even maybe a higher grasp of the truth, but I can kind of feel the currents, and I try and articulate them as I feel them. Now I'm using feel, but that's not really quite it. It's more yesodic. It's more like under my feet. So the vibes, you could say. I can sense where the vibe lives. The vibes live. So I do think you're a saint, Tsotchke. Like in the Jewish way, obviously not in the, maybe not in the Catholic way, but who knows really? Like who
Well, I
knows?
hope to get grandfathered into the Catholic.
Well, you're definitely in there. You're definitely you can make the circle of like humanist saints, I guess.
No, they should. Well, they
I'm just
look,
saying.
man. I'll take the Eucharist if it's necessary. I've done it before. It's not the first time, you know. I'm a very ecumenical person. But
I think all the people who are the real ones, I think that's a normative, like for us, is like a more normal conclusion.
Siddhartha is canonized in the Orthodox canon as Jehoshaphat, so you know.
Look, there's room in the pantheon for all the saints. It just depends on like what do we want to be part of, like the Pax Roman religion, or do we start our own temples, nodes, ipsos, clusters?
So going back to Eshkol, it's kind of ironic because if I had started Eshkol from nothing, it would be less than nothing, because in the world today, there's no chance that you could ever create an idea that would spark illumination with people if they didn't have something related to. Part of what makes Eshkol viable is its historical link to Scheme. So because it's compatible with Scheme and therefore high performance, or sorry, not and therefore high performance, but because it's compatible with Scheme and also high performance, it's therefore a very attractive choice to people who understand that particular lineage of the development of computer science. And they say, maybe I could use this today because not only does it compete with, but it's actually superior to what else is available. But without that historical link, I think it would be less than nothing. There's another scientific programming language which I'm very fond of. I've used it for many years. It's called Julia. Wonderful name to give a programming language. Absolutely beautiful. And it's a beautiful language. It's very powerful, but it has a lot of problems. A lot of issues. And had Julia not existed, maybe I would not have even made Eshkol. But Julia's big problem is it tried to be a thing unto itself. So it looked at the world in the same way that I did. It saw that there was a gap. It saw that Python was dominating, but there needed to be a better solution. It couldn't be too low level. It had to be something that could be read by normal people. But Julia is a disaster. It's a nightmare. It's a package mismanagement catastrophe. And it's used by a lot of very forward-thinking mathematicians and very serious people like that. I have spoken at a lot of mathematics conferences where Julia is the subject of a lot of discussions. And I myself have given numerous talks at various conferences about the Julia language because I have been an active developer in that language since 2017. But Julia is based on Ruby, and Ruby itself is a catastrophe. So it's like a simulacrum of a problem that never should have existed, and therefore it's like a double inheritance of servility. So Eshkol undoes all of this damage. It goes back to when programming was good and right and based on truth, but it gives it all the power of contemporary technical capabilities. So why should Guido van Rossum, whom I know, by the way, the creator of Python, and I know each other personally on a first name basis, and he does not like me at all, although he has been very gracious to me over the years. So I do appreciate that Guido has given me my shout outs, but he hates my guts and does not like me at all. Which is fine, I guess. But I wrote Python professionally for about 20 years. And my criticisms of the language are not superficial. They're not coming from the point of view of somebody who doesn't know Python. They're coming from the point of view of someone who has been writing Python since 2003 and helped foster the Web 2.0 world that we're living in. I helped lay the foundation for some of the earliest social networking sites who were purchased by some of the largest corporations that exist today. And in my naivete, I did not attempt to maintain control of any of this stuff or be a business type or something like this. I've always been a scientist or an artist, and it's my handiwork, in some ignorant sense, that dominates this psycho hell prison that we live in today. So in a sense, I feel a very strong reminiscence for the damage that I've wrought to this world without knowing.
Tsotchke.
Cool. Do you want to watch Sailor Moon or something? By the way, you see the girl with the long hair? That's me, actually. That tuxedo guy she's kissing, I'm a little fucked up about, but I also like it. So just let it happen, okay? The point is, that's why, by the way, I tend to drift a little bit more towards Cardcaptor Sakura, because I'm like, they kept it a little bit more pure, But
well, did they?
Not quite, but
there's a lot of impulsive kinds of storylines in that one, so I don't know.
Okay, just to be clear, Mamoru is Endymion, who's the king of the earth.
Yes.
Okay, right, and Usagi is literally Selene, who's the princess of the moon. So the story of the Crystal Millennium being destroyed is literally the diminishment of the moon in Kabbalah. That's what it is. So it's, again, it's so funny. I see these memes all the time pop up on Twitter of either Sailor Moon is the gayest thing ever, or I see these things oh, if you have an Usagi profile pic, you're going to be a leftist or something. And it's I know that K-On! Gets all the brunt of oh, you have to be if you watch K-On!, you are certifiably a Nazi. And I happen to love K-On!, by the way. It's the
I
best.
do like K-On! Too.
Dude, K-On! Is the
but I don't
best.
know. I kind of just like him I'm I don't know.
All I'm saying is, I think a lot of what is said about K-On! could be equally said about Sailor Moon, and these people just are not part of the view because they're mostly Zoomers who watch Sailor Moon Crystal and kind of nostalgically look back at the 90s anime series. But if it hadn't been for Sailor Moon, there would be no K-On! So I think Sailor Moon is even more Third Reich than K-On! Is, frankly. If we're being
Okay.
well,
we're I think that's a great place that I can clip it, Tsotchke. Maybe I won't.
You cannot. You absolutely
I'm just
cannot.
kidding. I already decided where I'm clipping it. I already wrote it down.
As we agreed, you can Frankenstein this conversation.
It'll have to be.
You cannot make me look like a retard, though.
I'm not going to. Obviously, why would I do that? That would be A, it's hard enough to get you booked. B, I actually want the episodes to be really successful, and I want you to look good. And
usually we do them like a little bit more organized than like, it
was a rough year. It was a rough year for both of us.
Ordinarily, I'm not crumbling.
Look, homie, I had a really fucking hard year. I'm not gonna lie. Maybe not as hard as you, for sure. But I had someone died. The whole parapolitical Twitter blamed me. All those parapolitical podcasters said it was my fault. That I was like,
what?
Yeah, because someone died.
No, I don't know these details at all.
Okay, well, one of the kids died who was doing the Tracy Twyman series with me.
Who?
I know, it was really crazy. Zach. But they're both named Zach, but the younger one.
Which
from Detroit.
Zach?
Zack.
I don't know if I know that Zach. I know the other Zach.
Yeah, Zach Schumacher.
Oh, Zach Schumer.
Yeah. Well, he's one of the tribe, right?
So you did episodes with a kid about Twyman and he died?
Yeah.
Yeah, but
days after, 3 days, Tsotchke,
did
after
you
I
know
released
this
the last
before
one.
You did it?
He came to me and was like, "Let's do a series on Tracy Twyman." It was like his idea.
Yeah, but that's kind of fucked, though, to be honest with you. Dude, listen, I mentioned clock shavings during the thing, but
that's the episode he did, Tsotchke,
dude,
with me.
I know that episode. Okay, but the thing is, so I mentioned to Gio during the recording, but Tracy and her boyfriend at the time were doing these weirdo, Baphomet, invocation kind of things with Ouija board stuff. So I'm not I'm not gonna get Parker Brothers on the phone right now and be like, hey, listen, you got to shut this shit down, man. You're opening portals to another. That's not how it is. But the point is, don't you think it's kind of interesting that you meet these people and they're like, hey, let's talk to disembodied conscious entities. But the point is this, nothing is what it seems. And normal people do normal things. I
agree.
Not appear in movies and write occult zines and things like this. So again, I'm not against this stuff because this is obviously my culture and what I'm into, and I'm not a normal person.
I'm some little Halpa kid who's third culture, grew up around comic books and video games and spent my whole life alone, and that's where sort of the whole post-COVID self-rediscovery doing the show came from. It was because I was a completely traumatized, shell-shocked, not capable of external love. I mean, with to the animals, to my horses or whatever. But yes, but not to people. And I still don't like to be touched, and I still have a lot of I don't really like people. I have struggle, and I know it sounds weird because I host a show and I have to be personable, but I'm fine with that. It's just the intimacy. It's really, I struggle with it a lot.
No, I get it. I really do.
I just wanted to tell you that because you've been spilling all
No, it's funny because I dropped that so hard. It's funny because you mentioned the horses thing. Also grew up with horses, cattle farm. Grew up riding and stuff like that. And so I've basically been like a member of all these global elite cybernetic management programs my entire life. Like I don't even know what a normal life is. Like if I sit down with like a regular person and I start like going over like the episodes of my life, they'd be like, "What the fuck?" Like I've never had a normal life ever. Like I was a kid growing up on some weird farm in some really weird area. And then I've just been like getting this bizarre education and having all these weird experiences. Like I've never met a single person I've never actually in my entire life, and I'm being serious with you, I'm 41 years old. I've never in my entire life sat down and had a conversation with someone where I've ever just been like, yeah, and then this happened to me. I prefer Yiddish to Hebrew, as you probably know. That's why I'm called Tsotchke, and not like, I don't know, Drillich or something like this, like, but the point is, I've never had what could be called like a normal life. And I'm not like, I wasn't like the child of like super ultra rich people where like I was like, whatever. I literally, it's like I grew up in a petri dish. It's like the byproduct of like a experiment or something like this.
A different culture that doesn't really exist outside of itself.
It's not even a culture, dude. Like all I'm trying to say is, Robert Anton Wilson would say things like, imagine that the world was like a conspiracy where it's like you and your friends are running the whole thing. It's like, yeah, but like, Rob, you and your friends were running the whole thing. Like, you knew fucking Malcolmus, dude. Like, you wrote the fucking Illuminatus trilogy with Bob Chia. Like literally Umberto Eco ripped you off in fucking Foucault's Pendulum. Like, what are you talking about, man? Like, you and your buddies wrote Principia Discordia. Like, what are you talking about?
Well,
or like Terrence McKenna, you realize that Dennis and Terrence were Austin Oric. Do you know who Austin Oric are? Austin Oric's like magic mushroom cultivation guide. Like,
yes.
what like later became like the thing that Arrowwood was based on. I don't know if you were a person that cultivated psilocybin, but I was. And I was very, very serious about Terrence McKenna for many years. That's why if you understand, this is why I despise the San Francisco Silicon Valley false like elite with my heart and soul. They're like pod people. They're not real. Like I admire Steve Jobs. I admire the history of Xerox and Atari, Noel Bushnell and those guys. And of course, like even Microsoft, they're not really a Silicon Valley thing. They're more Redmond thing. But the point is, like, I got nothing against the foundation of that thing, but like, I truly believe that since the late 1990s, Silicon Valley has basically hijacked destiny. But it's not real. They're all a bunch of fucking loser atheist nerds who like are mostly, if we're being honest with ourselves, like mestizos, like they're Aztec fucking I don't know what to say here. Like it's literally like a battle between Slavic mountain gods versus like subterranean Aztec corn gods. Yeah, like I don't know what to say. Like that's literally that's the battle of all time. Like, but even then, like, the whole history of Google makes you want to throw up. Okay? Do you know whose garage Google was started in?
I can't remember.
Are you ready?
Sergey Bran's?
No. You are very correct that Sergey Brin founded Google.
Okay, good.
But it was Susan Wojcicki's garage.
Oh, fuck.
That's why she was the fucking CEO of YouTube. She's fucking dead, by the way.
Yeah, I know. She had didn't she get murked?
No, she got murked like genetically.
Oh, okay.
Because she probably had Tay-Sachs and like 10,000 vaccines.
Right.
Like she had 18 vaccine high colonics the day that she died, but she had a vaccine sandwich that very morning. The point is, it was Susan Wojcicki's garage where Google was started. That is not a joke. Go look it up.
No, I believe you.
Nothing happens by accident. Nothing.
No, I agree with that.
And then it was her fucking sister who was the CEO of fucking 23andMe. And
yeah, that's what's weird.
And no, it's not weird at all. That's what I'm trying. Like, if you follow the thing I'm saying, it's not weird at all. It's the inversion of what Robert Anton Wilson is talking about, where it's like, imagine a world where like you and your friends literally are the conspiracy, but it's like, yeah, but Rob, you guys literally are the conspiracy. In the SF thing, it's this whole like hermaphroditic inversion of the tree of life, like
No, I'm very familiar with a lot of the barboids. Like, they follow me and they expect me to like, I don't know, like switch like my cosmology. I'm like, you guys, it's all speculative. Like, calm down.
Yeah, not like I'm trying to like come out against like all forms of sexual interplay or whatever.
No,
that's not what I'm saying.
That.
Yeah.
There's like Paracelsus says, that's the basal, like sort of alchemical components. Of course, there's going to be different expressions, but the like base normative way is like that. It's a heterosexual pairing.
It's just very, very interesting to me if you really, really, really see the deep truth here. Google was about getting everybody's everything, right? And then YouTube was about getting your face and your preferences and put your data in the machine. And then 23andMe was literally give me your DNA. And you want me to believe that these were all just people that hung out together, like, and that it just happened to blow up. That's just how it works. Of all the people in the world doing whatever, these gay fucking ideas happen to blow up.
Yeah. I mean, like 23andMe had clear, like, so many ties to the Mormons.
Dude, Google had its own video service. Like, why did they take a need? Google Video in like 2006. Dude, I'm nostalgic for Google Video in 2006. The way like people are nostalgic about like any era of their lives. I'm like, oh yeah, esoteric agenda, zeitgeist, Cymatica,
yeah,
fucking every single Jordan Maxwell thing, every video about Glenn Gould, like all these fucking European documentaries that you can't see anymore, all this like high-end like art cinema, all this shit. Dude, Google Video, and it was free, mind you, 800 by 600, like you needed something better than that. They deleted Google Video when Google bought YouTube. But, as I told you, if you're a normagroid and you don't know anything about reality, you're like, oh yeah, Google bought YouTube because YouTube was like this really super popular video thing. So it made sense that they shut down Google Video and stuff because they bought YouTube. But then when you realize that like YouTube was started by Susan Wojcicki and she owned the garage that Google ran out of, you're like, none of this fucking shit happened by accident.
No.
So why the fuck was there even a Google Video to even begin with? And I don't know if you remember this, but you couldn't just upload videos to Google Video. It wasn't like YouTube. YouTube, you could make an account, anybody could upload videos. There was kind of a bit of a backdoor kind of a thing for like Google Video where like you had to like know somebody or something like this so that you could like do it. You could not just anybody could upload videos to Google Videos. So it's a very curious thing. So it's interesting to me being like an old man, I guess. I mean, I'm not an old man.
You're not an old man, Saj. If you're old, then I'm old.
Yeah, well, I'm biologically possibly younger than you. I'm just warning, but like I'm a physically young guy. But
well, that's fair. But I was born in '88, so.
Well, I'm definitely older than you. But 84. By the way, funny thing, because 1984, right? That's
it's a rat year too.
It's the year of the rat. That's correct. But even more so than that, okay. I was born in the year 5744 on the Hebrew calendar, okay? But I was born in the leap year, okay? The leap month. So under normal circumstances, I would have been born in 5745, okay? But 5744 was a leap year. So instead of being born on the 7th of Tishrei, which is what my birthday would have been if I had been born on a normal year, I was born on the 7th of Elul, okay? Which is a lovely year and day to be born. 7th of Elul, 13th month, seventh day. But here's the thing. 1984 on the Hebrew calendar. Now, 1984, everybody knows, is the year of social domination, whatever, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. The famous Apple ad, George Orwell, whatever. In Hebrew, 5744 is Tav Shin Mem Dalet, which is Tashmud, which means destruction. So 5744 was prophesized as like a no-go time. Like, this is going to be bad. It is literally called Tashmud. 5744, Tashmud. Tashmud in Hebrew literally means everything gets fucked. Like, shmud means to mess it up. Shmud means to take something and go bleh, like kind of just like bleh, wipe your hands in it, basically. So Tashmud literally means we're going to get all crunked in this shit. We're just going to fuck this right up.
Okay, well, let's do it. Let's do it, Sash.
No, but Tashmud, so that's the year when life, what we call, our parents, when they look back on their lives, they're like, I don't know when it all went wrong. It's like between 1978 and like 1984. That's like what they're looking back on. Kind of like how like Gen Xers are like, I don't know when it all went wrong. They're like looking back in like 1998, or 2008 or whatever, or maybe that's us, The millennials are like, I don't know when it all went wrong. They're like looking back in like 2019, like whatever. But never mind. The point is, so Tashmud. But I was born in the very end of Tashmud. So I only experienced 23 days of Tashmud, I guess is what I'm trying to say. By the way, I want to say, I was so proud to tell you this, and I didn't get a chance to because it was after midnight, but I have these fireworks that my wife and I bought in like 2014 when we were still dating to light off at this like hotel that we were staying in this one summer, summer of love when we were young. And I never got to light them. So I saw these like fireworks videos. And so I still have these fireworks and they're like 10-year-old fireworks. I'm like, oh dude, it's New Year's Eve. I'm going to set these things off. I was going to do it at midnight, but I'm going to do it after our call.
Okay. Awesome.
They don't make noise or anything. They're like the fireball shooters, but I'm not even sure if they're going to ignite because it's,
Well, be careful, Tsotchke, please.
Well, they're not. It's not like an M80 or something, but they're just old. So, like, worst case scenario is just not going to burn. I have So something that I've wanted to do literally since the last episode, which maybe we'll sneak it into this one and you can dial it in. But
Okay.
like I don't know if it'll work for this episode, but I wanted to very badly go over literally the first chapter of Genesis that I have been trying to propagate, which is the entirety of everything you ever need to know about Torah is told in the very first chapter of Bereshit. Everything that's in the Zohar, everything that's in Kabbalah and Hasidus and Musar and everything, and the history of man and everything, it's all in the first chapter. Yeah.
Because that's like would be very profound, I think, for a lot of people to hear.
Because, dude, in Kabbalah, there are the four worlds, right? You have, Asiya, and then you have Yetzirah, and then you have Beriah, and then you have Atzilus, and then, of course, above that, you have, where we're really into the Kedusha, with like the Adam Rishon area, or Adam Kaman, and the idea that at the top there's just this thing called Yehida, so there's correspondence of the layers of the worlds with the layers of the soul and how they all exist kind of together and stuff like this. But and you can verify this for yourself, so that's what I'm telling you. On the very first chapter of Genesis, Bereshit, of course you have to see it in Hebrew, but if you get a bilingual thing where you see the English on one side and the Hebrew on the other side, you can kind of go through it, and you'll see that the Kabbalistic ordering of the worlds is not a concept that exists on its own. Like, you might be tempted to think some guys sat around somewhere and were deciding on the order of things, and they figured out that like it should go Asiya, and then Yetzirah, and then Beriah, and then Atzilus, whatever. That's not the case, actually. It turns out that it's all on the first page of Torah. It's all on the first page, and it actually spells out. So this is a very, very strong justification that Kabbalah is based in Torah. Number one. Point number one. Point number two, that all of this was organized from the beginning, and it was meant to be understood this way, and that what we call Kabbalah is actually more like a form of like really applied linguistics, and that it all like we're living like this whole huge thing. It's like the pattern it's like a fractal. Like the whole thing is laid out in like the first chapter, and then that thing just projects out. Now, of course, the Torah in general is like a Matryoshka doll kind of a thing, where like it's kind of like layers and layers. And of course, Genesis itself, Bereshit, it sort of fractalizes in its own way, in a way that maybe isn't reflected in the rest of the Pentateuch, the 5 books of Moshe, as we say. But nevertheless, the pattern is there. But I think the Sefer Bereshit, Book of Genesis, is very particularly interesting. Of all the books of Torah, of all of them, it stands out the most. But specifically, the first, let's say, third of it, the one that talks about the before time, so to speak, the Zep Tepi, right? In the Egyptian sense, the first time, right? But even then, the Zep Tepi doesn't even refer to Bereshit, because the Zep Tepi takes place after the fall. the Atlantean period, if we want to think about it like that. But the point is, the information that you find in the first, and it's so weird because people will look at that very first portion of Torah and say, this is proof of the anhistoricity of the Bible. Like they will point to, well, you see here, there's a talking snake, right? Or like, well, God clearly did not take a woman out of a man's flesh, which obviously he did. That's like self-evident to anyone that's ever interacted with a woman in their entire lives. Like they are clearly a proto man. There's like no question about that, you know. That's why they're so wicked and tormented. I mean, like it's all there in Bereshit, like the, you know. But the point
You're
is,
not wrong, Tsotchke, but we also are a bit wicked and tormented in our own fucked up ways.
look, I will tell you this though. I do have a magic moon princess crystal wand right here, and I will. So I'm never too far away from a magic wand, you know, and I certainly am the moon princess of the crystal millennium. You know, I almost canceled on recording tonight because I thought, you know, I'm just going to work through the whole night.
Well, I'm really glad that you didn't, Tsotchke. I want to say thank you so much for doing this 5 hours mega recording. Obviously, this will not make most of it.
95% of it's going in the archive, you know.
Well, that's pretty much what it'll be, but that's totally okay because we're friends and we had like a very far-ranging, very interesting discussion on pretty much everything that people could wonder about and gave lots of teasers for a lot more. I try not to think of myself as a content creator, but yeah, it is content and it'll make great work one day. We'll put
Jen,
it like,
I think of myself as a
Tsotchke
discontent creator.
I like that. I like that, Tsotchke, but you are a threshold saint, obviously. And as I said, you have been a huge influence on me, on the show, and also I think just like lending yourself to your presence, even though when you first came on, you had a much different sort of outlook, Twitter presence, and I think just like your general worldview was a lot smaller. And I think that, yeah, you've been given a lot of challenges, but I think that in your own way, you've met them as best as you can.
I really didn't think I was the thing. Like, I didn't think I was the thing that was responsible for what's going to happen next. Like, I kind of believed that I was just a normal person, even though I knew I wasn't. Like, I knew I wasn't, and I knew that everything I was doing was going to change the course of everything. I just didn't know how extreme the stakes would be. Like, I didn't realize that, like, my stupid research trajectory was literally going to be like a philosophical battleground waged by multi-trillion-dollar companies. Like I literally thought that I was just some like nerdy computer guy.
I think you are also that, Tsotchke, but you also are a Zadi, so you have a higher mission. And I think whatever happens, you know, you're gonna be fine. I believe in you. I really do.
No, but the thing is that like it's very difficult to comprehend. Like the thing I wanted to accomplish last year when I started my project, I already accomplished it last year when I started the project. Like my goals for the project were very, very simple. It was to twist the arm of the entire industry and force them to reveal their hand where they were at in the state of development. It was to force them to acquiesce to my demands that the industry start rapidly embracing quantum computing, and it was to effectively prove that they didn't have anything of significant value, and they did that. So, like, I mean, I have really nothing more to accomplish. Like, everything that this software that I'm delivering, that could just be it. I could just like give this to everybody and just leave. That could be it. The fact is, in 2025, it was revealed that the emperor has no clothes. It was revealed beyond any shadow of a doubt that the quantum computing industry is a wolf in sheep's clothing, except there's no wolf and there's no sheep. It's just it's like an onion with no inner layers. So we successfully killed crypto. In a sense, we killed quantum computing. We've sort of killed AI. I mean, I don't know if you remember, but DeepSeek came about literally in the Tsotchke epoch, when I was saying that a small team could overturn Google, everything, and everybody was casting doubt on me. That's when the Chinese literally shorted the stock market and destroyed $20 billion. I think it was $200 billion actually in value, like effectively in 24 hours from the American stock market. I don't want to take credit for this, but like that's what I was talking about. And again, I think there's a Schopenhauer quote that goes something to the effect of like, great ideas are at first, ignored, and then they're ridiculed, and then they're accepted as if they were obvious the whole time. So I think in the next couple of years, you're going to see the entire world adopt the principles that I presented last year: spin-based computing, geometric computing, efficient language model representation through geometrical methods. And everyone's just going to act like, oh, this is so obvious. This is the way it always should have been. But never forget that it was just some little moon princess posting on the internet.